If you can hear me, by all means, please respond in the affirmative, preferably with VV Nation, and let me know where you're tuning in from. And Jay says the word of the day is spam, because in our jockey club this morning, Jay, when the president was speaking, Jay said, hey, the president says we're going to send spam to Ukraine. And I was like, spam? No, Jay, we're going to send SAMs, which is surface-to-air missiles, not spam. Sigh, Jay, sigh, Jay, sigh, Jay. All right, Jim on Facebook says, hey, Glenn, you work too hard. Tell Joey. You hear that, Joey? I work too hard. Nathan on Facebook says, sound great in Florida. Michael says, 400 likes, and Glenn will do DJ Lonnie Anderson's family reunion for free. Holy crap. I'm not doing that for free. Listen, I'm a working DJ. I don't do that for free. Joey, should I do something? Should I DJ for free?
Yeah. Joey
says yeah, because he ain't got no skin in the game. All right, so we got Kenneth here from Gaucher. We've got Lauren here from the Philippines. Thank you for being here. Bill is from Missouri. Salt Shaker saying hello to both me and Joey. Kobe Grill is here from Israel. Curious, AV are good in Sherman, Texas. Eric says loud and clear on YouTube. So glad that you guys are here. Mash Luxury Transportation says 200 likes, and Glenn will keep the color guard under 10 minutes going forward. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna never happen. Wow, that ain't gonna never happen. Stock Time is here. Switch from Facebook. You know, it looks like Jay normally is on both. Normally, Jay is on both. Mark is here from Central Florida. And again, we are Wahid on Facebook says hello. And Jay is on Facebook as well. We got a lot to cover today. Muswick Lucio from Santa Barbara, California. All right, and Stock Time says there's more action here on YouTube. It all depends on the day. All right, Eton is here from Israel as well, and Ninja is here from Texas. All right, so that's just to say I like to shout out the people that are here, because I think it's important that because you guys are supporting the channel, I want to, if I got the chance, I do want to shout you out. All right, that's all. I do want to shout you out just to say thank you for supporting the channel. If you're brand new to the channel, I invite you right now, not now, but right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted that when new videos or live streams like this come out, you'll be alerted so that you'll know what's going on. If you like the commentary, hit the like button, folks. If it was worth your time to be here today, hit the like button, and of course, comment. I want to see what happened. I want to see what happened. I want to see what you guys have to say. I want to hear your thoughts on a lot of the things that I talk about. So Stock Time says, what happened to this morning's rally? So I am of the mindset. All right, let's talk a little bit about that. Since we're in the homepage right now, a big reversal on the market. The market during the Jockey Club looked like we had a green light in the color guard pricing column. But what was one of the things that I said? All right, one of the things that I said is when you see all three colors being represented in the color guard in the 6-day time period, the market is having a hard time determining which direction it wants to go. Nathan on Facebook says, Glenn, you are the man. Always a pleasure to watch. Just outright amazing. Keep up the amazing work. Just FYI, your Mullen talk amazing. I went short that day, just covered today to go long. Thanks again, brother. You got it, man. Listen, I love, for the most part, that I don't try to hype up any stocks. My job is not to tell you what you want to hear. My job is to tell you what you need to hear. That's what my goal is. And I pride myself on doing a couple of things. I keep politics as much as I can out of what we do here. And it's not about what everybody else says. I have the power of the VectorVest system to help us, to help you make money in the market and to make good decisions. Now, one of the things, I'm getting a whole lot of feedback from the video that Patrick and I did on Netflix. We put out a video yesterday about it shouldn't have been a surprise about Netflix. And I'm getting some hate, man. I'm getting some smoke over that, saying, oh yeah, of course you're gonna say that it was bad after the fact. All we did yesterday is to show you what the VectorVest system was telling you prior to what happened yesterday. That's all it was. All right. And man, oh man, we got some smoke for that. And I did the best that I could to answer those comments in as a respectful manner as I could. It wasn't all about that, oh yeah, we told you this. The system, we showed you in the system what was going on with Netflix and some of the things to look at. So that's all it was. That's all it was. And yeah, I think that a lot of what happened this morning was that Biden spoke and said that he was going to send spam to Ukraine. All right. He was, according to Jay, that he was going to send spam in to Ukraine. The market is getting ugly today. I am short this market. Look at the daily color guard. And you know, Kenneth, interesting in regards to that, you say, look at the color guard. The color guard has got what color? The color is yellow. What does that mean? It means to be cautious. So if you're using the color guard like you would a traffic light, the predominant color is yellow, and it means to be cautious. Because of today's activity, does it mean that you panic sell any of your long positions? The answer to that is no. One day doesn't make a trend, folks. It really doesn't. So what happened today? Maybe the president speaking. Maybe there still is fears of, with the interest rates going on, how that's going to affect the market. But I was constantly thinking that, you know, what's going to overcome that thinking is that companies are still making money. Earnings is the engine that drives a market higher, that drives a stock's price higher. And companies are still meeting or exceeding earnings. Rising interest rates are probably not going to start affecting individual companies until later this year. Remember, we just started doing this year. All right, we just started doing the raising of the interest rates. It's going to take time to catch up. One other thing I'm going to ask you right now. A lot of you follow us already on social media, and a lot of you, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram, have a lot of followers. I am going to ask you right now to share this live stream with people in your social circles. Let's get a lot more people in the room. Why not? If you're learning some things that are going to help you to make you a better investor, why not share the wealth? So if you all can copy the link to this live stream right now, share it on your social circles. Let's get some more people up in the room. Let them get to have access to the information that you're getting right here, right now. All right, so as we look at the market today, our quick list of all of the major indices. All of the major indices are now down. All of the top sectors, look at that. Petroleum is taking a big hit. Why? Because it's been one of the sectors that has been rising the most recently, right? So when the market does go down and people get a little fearful in the market, they get out of the sectors or the industries that are moving up the most. So let's see. Kenneth says, I passed this to my older brother. Excellent. Tyson is still doing pretty good. Food stocks, we talked a little bit about that last week. I always try to bring to your attention what sectors are moving to help you make money into the market. Roger says, Musk says he secured financing enough to do a tender offer. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. All right, so the market looks like this right now. Let's go take a look at some news in the market and see what's going on. All right, what's making the market look this way? Let's go to my web stories. And here we go. I am going to do a video for tomorrow, which is going to be talking about possibility of a recession. And I keep getting asked the question, why are you talking about a recession? Because statistically speaking, once interest rates start to rise and it affects an individual's company's ability to make money or grow the bottom line, normally what happens is a recession. When is that going to happen? I think that we've got some time before that happens. But a lot of people on social media, on YouTube, on all of these things, there's a lot of chatter about, are we in one? When is it going to happen? That kind of deal. So I'm going to do a video on it for tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that. Time for SQQQ. Remember, Stephanie, one day is not a trend, right? We had an up day yesterday. We have a down day today. What did I just say? It's not time for panic selling. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And as well, I built a trend portfolio, which includes steel, aluminum mining, and energy stocks. I'm getting killed today. Any advice? Yes. On a day like today, when these stocks are getting smoked, make sure you have tighter stops. Don't give away the profits that you've made. The 10-year is up 9 basis points today and is currently at 2.93. And that is also a forewarning of market to turn around as well, Lead. Absolutely right. So I will talk about that in the video tomorrow as well. But hot economy, rising inflation, the Fed has never successfully fixed a problem like this. And it goes down to reducing inflation without significantly raising unemployment. All right. So very interesting. Central bank officials say it's possible with calibrated interest rate increases that slow a booming demand. And as we look at what's going on with inflation, the Fed is setting up to possibly be a little bit more hawkish. I'm thinking that the next interest rate hike is going to be at 50 basis points. But I still think that before the end of the year, to effectively, really aggressively go after inflation, he's probably going to have to raise it up 100 basis points, and the market's going to be like, what? And it's not going to like that. And that's going to probably be the prelude to a recession when it does happen. But when that's going to happen is a whole nother idea. I think we're in a bear market. When the market is up, it's a correction, down market. What do you think? I don't think that we're in a bear market. If it's VectorVest subscriber, every Friday when we go through the market timing, we tell you that we're still in a bull market scenario. Why? Because earnings are still up. Projected earnings on the S&P 500 is still at 20%. So with that being said, Stephanie, we're still in a bull market, and we're going to have some bear runs in a bull market. What else is going on as far as the economy? China's economy grew 4.8% in the first quarter, beating expectations. With a growing economy, eventually China is going to have inflation issues as well. But a lot of their issues are a little different because COVID in Shanghai and shutting down a major part of China affected their economy. But the economy still grew. Well, when you say that it still grew, it grew as compared to over a year period. I see that. But if the economy grows and grows and grows, prices are going to go up. Inflation is going to be an issue. Beijing faces major tests to keep the economy firing as challenges bearing down going on the growth proliferate. Challenges bearing down is COVID. All right, Ukraine war deepens debt woes across developing world. Several heavily indebted governments are struggling to service loans amid climbing inflation and interest rates. Everything still comes around full circle. Last thing, jobs. Weekly job claims total 184,000, just above the expected, just above expectations in a tight labor market. Now, this is another interesting story that I'm getting ready to show you in regards to the job market. Is several million U.S. workers seen staying out of the labor force indefinitely. That's going to suck for our economy. If people are staying out now, I don't understand how they can. I didn't fully read the story, so I'm not going to try to guess about it. Several million workers who dropped out of the U.S. workforce during COVID pandemic plan to stay out indefinitely because of persistent illness fears or physical impairments, potentially exacerbating the labor shortage. So if companies cannot maintain workers, that's going to affect them. And eventually, what are they going to have to do? Shut down. That's going to be sucky, and that could help to drive us towards a recession as well. Just think of all of the little things, the little pieces that come into play that put us where a recession, where it's imminent. All right. They say they don't plan to return to work to pre-COVID activities, whether that includes going to work, shopping in person, or dining out. You know what's taking a hit because COVID is so-called in the back rear view mirror is travel stocks are starting to move. All of the streaming services, not just Netflix, took a hit. Why? Because more people are going back to work. They ain't got time to sit down and binge watch on streaming media anymore. All right. And we, again, Patrick and I talked in depth about Netflix and what things were affecting Netflix in that adverse way. About 3 million workforce dropouts say they don't plan to return. The workforce dropouts tend to be women, lack of a college degree, and have worked in low-paying fields. Wow, that's important. Worked in low-paying fields, because if you even go back to those jobs because of inflation, is it worth it? Think about it. And I'm thinking that these people are thinking about it as well. The lack of a college degree. Well, it takes a lot of money to go to college, right? All right. And there's a whole thing going on with forgiving college debt. I got my own feelings on that, but that's another story for another time. Women, why? Because, with kids going to, staying in school or not staying in school, they need to be home with their children. All right, so there's a lot of things that are affecting people in the workspace, and if companies are not able to bring in new workers, it's going to be tough sledding going forward. Michael says the Central Bank of Canada and the U.S. Fed waited too long to take positive measures to fight inflation. Michael, I'm with you 110% on that. I'm with you 110%, especially when they kept saying that the rate of inflation was transitory. Man, that just bothered me beyond repair, because you want to push up the economy. You want to give all this stimulus, which I don't think we should have given nearly as much stimulus as we did, but we did, all right? And who am I? I'm just a guy, right? And push all of this money into the economy because of COVID to keep it from going into a recession. And I think we did a good job of that. I think that there were people that needed the money, and they got the money, but I don't think they needed as much money as we sent. And we put a lot of money, we put a lot of money into the economy, which of course is going to raise prices higher. And you're right, we did not respond to pull that back nearly as fast. So I'm with you on that. So several stories on what's going on from a market perspective, what's making the market go the way that it is. Let's go to the VectorVest program. Here's my watch list of stocks today. And again, these are sorted by our master indicator, VST. So the stocks that have the best combination of value, safety, and timing are at the top of the list, and the ones that have the worst are at the bottom of the list. And the two indicators that we use for tracking the market are the VectorVest Composite, if you are a subscriber to the software, and the spiders, if you are not. Let's go take a look at what they look like. So the question came up is, do we start with the SQQQ? This is the VectorVest Composite today. Good, googly moogly. Now, we did gap up this morning. Look at that gap up. We gapped up this morning. It was like, hey, hey, my, rock and roll will never die. And all of a sudden, the rock came rolling down, and there we go. And the market, I'm looking at a 20-day exponential moving average or 20-period exponential moving average. We are just going down, 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 down in the ring of fire. But it is what it is. We fully faded the gap. The market is turning around. And I'm still, with today's activity, it brings up the idea, are people afraid of what's going on with interest rates? When the days with the market was going up, in my mind, there was no good news out there about why the market should be going up, except for earnings. And maybe the earnings was overtaking the fear behind the rising interest rates. Now, a lot of people say that they think that the rising interest rates are already built in. I don't think so, because the Fed is having a hard time going after it the way. And now that they're going out, they're trying to make sure we have a soft landing by balancing it out. And I don't think that Jerome Powell has all of the tools necessary to really follow through with that. Rick says, we are following the exact path we did during the Spanish flu. History repeating itself nearly exactly. I got my feelings on COVID. I am vaccinated. Even after getting vaccinated, I got it, but it was really mild for a couple of days. And I think that actually we're probably developing a way of a herd immunity, and just let everybody be everybody and unless you at high risk. Now, I'm high risk. I got high blood pressure, I'm fat, and I've got diabetes. So I've got all of the other indicators that could affect me really adversely in that space, but we'll know. Any crypto I should be investing in? We talked about crypto this morning in our live trading room on the Jockey Club today. There's nothing in specific that I'm going to talk about on that today. What do you think about NEO? I love the EV space. I love the EV space, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well, because I just did a video on copper. How many of you saw the video on copper that I just did? 132 pounds, or type of me in the room if you saw it. 132 pounds of copper needed to build an EV. 132 pounds, that's a lot of copper, and EVs are hot right now. There's a lot of demand for them. I'm trying to tell you, copper is a good play. NEO I like. There's probably a couple other EVs that I like better. Hi, John says, Glenn, I have started to do more fasting and have been feeling better, though tough part is being consistent. Yeah, I'm not fasting. The only fasting I'm doing is I'm going to eat fast. That's just me, but I probably should think about fasting. Joey, should we fast?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I think he's just saying to say that. I do not think you know what that. I do not think that word means what you think it means. All right. Anyway, and Susie says I should. I might. All right. So that's on the VectorVest composite. Let's put this on a 3-month graph. Big down day today, but I do have a level of support sitting at a neck level. No, here's my neck level of my inverse head and shoulders. Patrick did a good video on this. Steve Chappell did a strategy of the week. The timing last week on this. In order for this to really take root, we need to see the price of the composite break above this 64.37 level. Look at the earnings per share over the last 3 months. Earnings are falling, but earnings are still positive. But earnings are falling. Remember, this looks at the move of about 9,000 stocks. Let's go over to the spiders. Big down day today as well, but still sitting above a level of support, sitting at about 435.48. Before you start to think that the market really does have legs to the downside, it needs to break through these most recent levels of support first. Thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. Weekly unemployment claims held near their lowest levels since 1960s, with a strong labor market and proven levels of employment remaining a bright spot in the economy. I don't know how bright it really is. There's a couple of things to look at. Wage increasements have been bigger over the for the longest time. But even with rising wages, they're not been keeping up with inflation, number one. Number two, I just showed the story, Bill, that a lot of people who left the marketplace are not coming back. A lot of that comes from older people who were filling in odd-end jobs after being retired. They're not coming back because they don't want to face or get into a case where they could contract COVID. So how long does it take for VectorVest to update earnings after an earnings announcement? It actually happens. It should happen on that same day, John. It should happen on that same day. Anyone short Roblox? It's been a score for me. Take a look at it. We'll take a look at it. All right, so that's what's going on with whether it's the SPY, whether it's the VectorVest composite. Just a big down day today. We need to see if it breaks down through any levels of support before we start to talk about really looking at something like the SQQQ. Today, the SQQQ could be a positive play. From a day trade perspective. All right, let's get back into the software. Into the web stories. Let's get to my next web story. And my next web story is going to be on airline stocks. Why? Well, airline stocks, a lot of people want to get out of town. Why? Because they've been locked down for 2 years. How many people in here are willing to not only fly, but pay a little extra money to fly because inflation is driving tickets higher? Type of one in the room. If you still wanting to sit home and wait for more confirmation about COVID-19 and what's going on with it, type of 2 in the room. But how many of you are ready? How many of you, remember, type of 1, how many of you are ready to get out and about again? John says, just went to Maui 2 weeks ago. John, you didn't invite me and Janet? You didn't even invite me and Janet to go, John? I'm hurt. I'm hurt. All right, but I've got a mixture of both 1s and 2s. Interesting. Ninja says, 3, I have to fly for work. All right, that wasn't one of the choices, but I hear you. Flying to Iceland next month, says Rick. All right, I hear that. 1 and no masculine. That's another story for another time. I'm not getting into that debate here on what I feel, what I think. I do have my own ideas around that. Yeah, we're going to look at the Bahama trip portfolio today. Never stop flying, says Badger. I got you. I don't like flying, always ready for a road trip. You know something? Nothing wrong with that either. I think people are willing and ready to get out of home, but airline stocks are starting to move. United forecasts a 2022 profit, forecast 22 profits as passengers return and pay more to fly. Why are they paying more to fly? Because of inflation. So United missed earnings, but they're forecasting good 2022 profit because looking forward, they know that travel is going to pick up. Now, on the other hand, American Airlines beat their earnings expectations, and they forecast return to profit as bookings rebound. So I'm looking at airline stocks as one segment of the market that you want to keep your eyes on, folks. All right. I hear you, Stock Time. You know I'm not getting into that. We're done with that, says Fernando. I got you. And have a good day, Tommy. Have a good day, my friend. All right. Jim says, I want to pay less. Well, that's not going to happen in the current atmosphere right now with rising inflation, man. It is what it is. And I still think that people are willing to pay a little bit more money to fly right now, specifically because they want to get out of town. All right, let's go take a look at my airline stocks. Let me close this graph out first. Let me go take a look at my airline stocks. I've got a listing of them in here for you as well. Let's go back to the program and look at this. American Airlines, based on 21 stocks in here, United Airlines at the top of the list. Delta Airlines up there. Love up there. American Airlines. Out of 21 stocks, this is a hot space. All right. People are wanting to get out of town. And notice that even with a down day in the market today, all 4 of these stocks are going up. Folks, if you don't have any money in the airlines, you need to consider it. All right. You need to consider it. It's a space that's moving. Let's right click on these stocks. Let's view the stock graph. Remember, American Airlines beat. United Airlines did not beat on both revenue and on earnings, but still enough. If the space is moving, the stocks in the space should be moving. Let's go put these on a 3-month graph as well. Look at that move. That's earnings. All right, that's earnings right there. Big jump up on big volume. Rising earnings per share. I like it. You're just like the barge. Ooh, and I like it. You send chills up my spine every time I take one look at you. Earnings is rising. I'm thinking a little bit of profit taking because that's a big jump from 46.62 up to 51. I'm thinking some people are taking some profits, but a lot of people are probably going to be up in here. Cruise lines, Alejandro, is another spot that I would be in. All right, I'm looking at planes, trains, and automobiles. I'm looking at everything in the travel space. Cruise lines, and this is the summertime coming up, right? This is the summertime coming up. I'm thinking that cruise lines are going to... Now, with all of this being said, what's going to affect these stocks? Interest rates rising. So right now, they're going to take the good, bad, the ugly. At some point, it's going to get ugly. Right now, it's good. It's not bad. But at some point in time, it's going to get ugly, and rising interest rates are going to affect the bottom line. Even with rising prices, people are going to only be willing to spend extra money or rising prices on these for X amount of time. After a while, it's going to get too expensive. I don't think that there is a level that people won't stop and they'll be like, oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. All right, you want me to pay this for that? They may want to get out, but I saw something here about Staycations, I like staycations. All right, so United Airlines beat Delta. Look at that. This is not earnings play. Earnings already happened for Delta. They beat as well. Nice gap up. Been running up ever since on good volume. Man, what else? Love. What was earnings there? Earnings hasn't come out there yet, but I'm assuming that they are going to do good on earnings and forecasts as well. Look at all of these stocks. All of these stocks on good rising volume. Look at the earnings per share. How are you calculating earnings since it's quarterly based? So Sucraj, our earnings is forecasted 1 year out. So what we're saying when we look at Love, that the earnings at this time next year should be $2.12. And I'm seeing that it's rising. So the forecasted earnings on these airlines is rising, which gives me the understanding that these may not be bad plays, because by this time next year, they're going to be at these levels. That's what we're looking at. Don't understand the earnings graph being updated. So hopefully that made sense to you. We forecast 1 year out. That's why our earnings can change on a daily basis based on things like earnings and earnings growth rate. Amongst other things is how we give an earnings per share on a stock. Sonny says, increased interest will soon hit mortgage payments for many. No cash, no trips. So now you understand, Sonny, why the conversation about a recession needs to happen. That's absolutely right. And what's going to be another beneficiary of rising interest rates? Banks, because of mortgage rates. Banks are going to be another big beneficiary. Sukraj, did I answer your question in regards to earnings? Ours is forecasted, and we look at analysts and we look at past earnings, and we take that information to forecast 1 year out. And I think that that's a more important factor to see where stock is now compared to where it should be a year from now. All right. And my last stock is American Airlines. They beat earnings. Look at that. Rising earnings per share, big volume, earnings play, a little bit of a pullback. I'm thinking anytime I see a big gap up, and notice that all of these gapped up a few days ago, about a week ago. All right. John says, Glenn was right about inflation last year about this when we talked about inflation being transitory. Glenn for Fed chairman. Oh, heck no. I'm not doing that because, man, I'd be like, y'all can't spend none of this money. Y'all would hate me as a Fed chairman. Be like, well, Mr. Fed, what are you going to do? Y'all can't. I will be so fiscally responsible that, y'all can't spend nothing. Well, how are we supposed to? You gonna eat, you barter. You barter. You got some gold? Trade your gold. Go buy packs of cigarettes. Go sell, barter. I'm going to make sure that we become, I will be able to back up every dollar by the gold standard if I was Fed chairman. Oh, no. Let's get back to being fiscally responsible and not have paper money. I want the value of our money to mean something. So that's me, and that's why I will never be the Fed chairman. All right, just putting that out there. All right, so those are my airline stocks. Do you still want me to be Fed chairman, John? I'm asking. You still want me to be the Fed chairman? All right, if you still want me to be, all right. I'm trying to prepare you. I want our money to be worth something. All right, let's get back into my stories. Let's get to my next story. My next story is about steel stocks. Alcoa stock falls on outlook. Nucor Steel Dynamics crush views. Steel stocks are still towards the top of the list as a hot space to be. All right. Oil still at the top of the list. Fertilizer still at the top of the list. Paper. I talked about that last week, and a lot of you didn't even realize that paper was a hot sector. All right, a lot of you didn't even realize that. That's my job, is to bring that kind of information to you. All right. Yes, be the Fed chairman. We need someone who tells the truth and does the right thing. Supposedly, Russia decimation of Ukraine is causing food shortages and unrest for emerging countries. All right, so I understand that as well. And that's why we've been doing videos on commodities, again, on copper, on gas, on oil. Everybody's asking me to do something on lithium. I've done something on uranium. That's another place for you guys to look at is commodities, because as things are going on, commodities are not going to fade away. We need commodities. All right. They are critical. They're critical in our daily activities. All right. So commodities, wheat. I made some money on WEAT, wheat, because Ukraine is a big exporter of wheat. And with them going through all of the stuff that is driving the price of wheat higher, something to take a look at. Just look at a large position in Alcoa a couple of days ago, sitting on about 25% loss. Should I hold long-term or sell based on VectorVest sell recommendation? That's a good question. Let's go take a look at it. So we know that steel stocks are making the news. Let's go see what's up there. How about Nucor, still at the top of the list? On Alcoa is not in. It is in here. There it is. There it is in my list, Matt. But STLD is up there. What else is up here? AA and TX. Look at where these stocks sit. Look at where these stocks sit in my listing of 21. They're towards the top. And two of the top stocks in the list, Matt, are Nucor and STLD, right? So Ternium is in here, and here's your Alcoa, right? Let's take a look at these graphs. Now notice that Alcoa, out of the four stocks, is the only one that's a sell recommendation. So let's take a look at that from that perspective, Matt, all right? Are there other stocks that are in that space that could be better potential buys? The answer to that is yes. But does that mean to give up on your Alcoa? Let's talk about that. 3-month graph on Nucor. Good gravy. You got good, googly muggly. How about, can I do this? Where's my rocket? No, it doesn't work. That doesn't work. There we go. Not that one. Sigh. That one won't work. How about this one? There it is. All right. Thank you, Joey. As I look at that, that's exactly what that stock is doing. Gotta love it. Now, what catches my attention on Nucor is that earnings per share is still great, but it's falling. All right. The rate of earnings going up is falling. That's something to keep your eyes on. But look at the move of Nucor. Is that a better buy? Matt, that could be a better buy. Look at the 20-day. And not every stock in that space, Matt, is the same. Here's STLD. Looks good. There's Ternium, a little bit more volatile, but still moving up. And it's taking a hit today. So notice that STLD is up today and Nucor is up today. But Ternium, on the other hand, is taking a hit, and guess what? So is Alcoa. So the question is, do you sell it? You got a 16% loss. My first question is to you, what is your max level of pain? All right? What is your max level of pain, Matt? 1. Number 2, well, if your max level of pain still says that it's okay for you to take a little bit more, then I'm going to give you a level of support sitting at 69.89. All right, and if that's the case, if it breaks below that level of support, that will be 2 levels of support. That's probably a good time for you to give up the stock. The stock is a sell recommendation. I do like earnings per share, though. Earnings is the engine that drives the stock's price higher. I do like earnings per share. I would at least give it to that level of 69.89. Does that make sense, Matt? All right. Oh, Alcoa is a aluminum stock. All right. Nonetheless, if you're in it, at least I'm giving you some heads up. Sell recommendation is nothing to sneeze at. All right. If you do want to give the stock a little bit more room, I would give it to this level of 69.89 on an end of day basis. If it closes below that level, you probably want to think about closing it out. But I do like the earnings per share. Now that we're in a down market, these high flyers will get hit, and it's going to be interesting. I'm not calling it a down market yet. This is one day, bro. And everybody's, it's one day. One day doesn't make a trend. Remember, let me move this over for a second. Going back to the market timing graph, I've got a level of support sitting at the level of about $60.66. Before I'm really willing to say that this is a down market, let's see if this level of support holds first. Does that make sense, John? Does that make sense? That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to see if one day doesn't make a trend. Matt says that was kind of my hunch at 16% loss. What's a couple of more percent? So, Matt, that's my guidance by just looking at the graph. This is not my opinion. All right. And I try very hard to keep my opinion out of a lot of these things because I can't invest your money and I can't tell you what to do. But looking at a graph, it was in a little bit of a channel. It broke to the downside of that channel, sitting in another channel. This is a level that I would look for. If we break down below that and close below that on big volume, that's probably what I would be looking at. Jim says, what does the color guard show? The color guard is showing that all three colors are being represented in a 6-day time period, but there's more yellow than anything, which means what? Be cautious. It doesn't mean to panic sell. So Matt's question was right on point. Do you panic sell it because it's down and it got a sell recommendation? Let's give it a little bit more room. I think having a definitive exit plan is important. And this gives him a definitive exit plan so that he doesn't have to guess at what he wants to do. I think we have higher probability of it going up from here than down more, though anything can happen. Absolutely right. And you know something? Don't try to outguess what a stock or the market is going to do. Follow what you have at your fingertips to help you to make the right decisions. What do you think about EGY? I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm not gonna talk about that until I've looked at the stock. I was talking about confirmed in DEW, Glenn. Oh, okay, you talking about from that perspective. All right, then never mind, John. I fully understand. I totally fully understand. My Facebook people are pretty quiet. You guys are watching, but you ain't saying much. All right, I just want to make sure you're alive. All right, say something. Dag nabbit, say something. All right, and again, Matt, what I do like, one of the things I do like about Alcoa is that it does have rising forecasted earnings. All right, so I'm looking at that. Gold is useless. I'm not saying that yet. Gold is on the rise too. Gold is on the rise too. I'm not ready to say that I'm ready to jump full bore on gold, but gold is on the rise. Nobody is going to barter or gold to carry it anywhere. Listen, sell the cigarettes. That's all I got to say about that. Sell the cigarettes. All right, let's get back into my next story. Let's go here. What's my next story? Oh, my next story is on building stocks. Why? Because the building sector is up over 23% in the last 2 weeks. I always want to make sure that you guys are up on what's moving, especially if you're not a subscriber to the VectorVest software. I always want to make sure that you guys know what's moving. You only get to get this information once a week, right? So on Trending Thursdays, the whole building sector is up 23% over the last 2 weeks. So here's one stock in here. Snap-on tops Q1 earnings per share by 34 cents. Snap-on Tools, that's all part of building, right? So that's a nice move on that group of stocks. Let's go take a look and see what other stocks I have in that space. Hold on. Where am I? I'm here. All right, let's go see what other stocks I have in that space. Let me move back. Let me put this into the program. So Snap-on made the news from that perspective. Let's go see what other stocks I have. WSO, Watsco. I also have Snap-on. Where's Snap-on? Man, so this sector, even though it's up 23% over the last 2 weeks, look at where the stocks sit. Towards the bottom of the list. You know what that tells me? That these are stocks that could be poised to run. All right, I look at this, it was up 23% over the last 2 weeks, but the stocks are towards the bottom. These could all be poised to run. Another thing, on a down day, all of these stocks are up today too, right? Lee is right, folks. Hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the like button. You know me, I always try to get us at least 100 likes before we leave, especially if nothing else. If you feel that this was worth your time to be here, the only good way you can tell me that is to hit the like button. Hit the like button. Or if you haven't already yet, hit the subscribe button. Support the channel. If you like the content, support the channel, folks. Kevin says, Glenn, why didn't you tell me this 2 weeks ago? Because it wasn't rising then. It's rising now. And the cool thing about this is that the stocks that are in this list are towards the bottom of the list. I like that as a possible move to the upside before it moves. There we go. I'm getting the likes. I'm getting the likes on Facebook, though. They're hitting the thumbs up, so I got to like that. And Tony Pay says, hi. So I'm with you. I'm here. Thank you for that again. Romeo says, love the content. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Again, hit the like button. All right, let's go take a look at these stocks. Now, remember, it's moved up 23% in the last couple of weeks, but the stocks are still towards the bottom of my list. This could be getting ready to crank up, baby. Could be getting ready to crank up. Let's go take a look. I'm waiting for my graphs to load up. Waiting. Wait one. All right, WSO. Look at that. AC heating products. Look at the rising earnings on this. Now, I love the move that it made today, but where did it stop? Right at that level of resistance of 311.33. It's still sitting in that channel, open bar with good volume, but look at the rising earnings per share. I like that this space is on the rise. This is what we call a mover and a shaker. And the stocks within this space, look at that though. Snap-on beat earnings. Let's put earnings on. Beat earnings on good volume. 3-4 days of above average volume. Look at the rising earnings. Heavy volume, long wick. The big wick at the top just means that there's a lot of give back. That was the high for the day at 310.26. It's now trading at 299. A lot of people sold off, so that volume is still big. A lot of people sold off, probably taking some profit on that, Jim. Probably taking some profits on that, all right? Let's go to Patrick Industries, mobile manufacturing RV. How many of you own an RV? How many of you own an RV? AA fundamentals are strong. Next level of support is down to 60. I do not see that kind of price collapse. Strong support is at 69. That's the low. All right. Again, Alex, all you saw me do when I looked at AA was just to look at the graphical information that's there. My wife and I are looking to buy a fifth wheel. All right. I still got about 10 years before I guess I'm going to retire unless I just get tired of doing this and I'll just retire. I was supposed to retire at about 50, but I didn't. I was supposed to retire about 5 years ago, but I love doing this stuff. Believe you me, I do love doing this. And I'm looking for about a 40-foot, Kenneth. I'm looking for about a 40-foot because if we do a fifth wheel, that's going to be home away from home. And I want as big and as comfortable as I can get. So I don't want to pull behind. I want a fifth wheel. I want a fifth wheel. And that's what I'm looking for. All right. So Alex was talking to Matt in regards to AA, Alcoa. Matt, you understood where I stood on Alcoa, yes or no? And Alex, do you understand where I stood on Alcoa as well? Yes or no? Just curious to know. Look at that. The DTI is bearish. You know I'm not going to talk about the DTI in here, Stephanie. Too many of you pay for the Jockey Club or pay for the Derby. I ain't going to give that away for free, but as a VectorVest subscriber with the Derby tool, you can definitely see that. Don't forget the price of fuel for your RV. Sonny, if I've got the money to outright buy an RV, that means I should be okay with the gas. That's my mindset. That's my mindset. All right. So, but I am now, you know, it's going to be cool. What happens? You don't have to worry about, remember, I'm not putting gas in it. I'm not putting gas in it. It's the vehicle that's going to pull it. What if I, as a fifth wheel, can find a good electric vehicle to pull my RV? I won't need to know about gas, won't I? But I don't know if any of the electric vehicles have the towing capacity to tow a fifth wheel. I'm assuming yes, but I'm not sure. I'm assuming yes, but I'm not sure. All right, so remember, I'm not using the RV. I'm looking at a fifth wheel. I'm looking at a fifth wheel. All right, what other stock is in here? We have CNM, Core and Main, Building Products, Miscellaneous, rising earnings per share as well. I'm liking that this space could be an entree in before it takes off. Between, long cable, says Sonny, I got you. All right. Alex says, yes, he understands about my analysis on AA. And he says, thanks for the info. Way to go. All right. So that's on that space, building stocks. Woo! Let's talk about the next space. Let's talk about the next stock right there. The next space that I want to talk about. Summer's coming up, right? Summer's coming up, and what do we all want to do? We give Glenn permission to do trending Thursdays in semi-retirement from the Bahamas. Ooh, I like that. Kenneth says, and you're not getting any younger. Thanks, Kenneth. Live life while you can. Of course, I'm going to try to as much as I can. So, summer's coming up. What do you want to do? You want to look good. Well, apparel stocks are on the rise. Apparel stocks on the rise. Lululemon is shooting for the moon, but Wall Street isn't convinced it can get there. I am of the mindset right now that this is cyclical. Summer's coming, and even though it's going to cost more money to buy clothes, people still want to look good. And companies like Lululemon, shoe companies like Madden and like Nike and like Skechers, and going to the beauty salon like Ulta. All of that's going to be the rave this summer. And I think that that's going to be more so this year because, again, people want to get out. People want to get out of being locked down for the last 2 years. That's why people are willing to spend a little extra money to travel. You think that they're not going to spend a little extra money to put on some good-looking clothes? All right, I'm not buying Lulu pants, Glenn. So don't buy them. You ain't got to buy them. I ain't going to buy them either. Matt says, sorry, I realized I paused for a second. It's all right, my friend. My summer body looks like I have a great personality, says Sonny. Walk, Glenn, and you'll see you'll be able to run. Most eco-friendly and Glenn's health-friendly, too. Yeah. My wife wants to get me to walk a little bit more often. All right, so I'm looking at Lululemon. Let's go take a look at that and some other stocks in the space. All right, let's go see where they sit. Lululemon, look at that, towards the top half of my list. Now, apparel stocks, it's the 21st best sector out of 40 sectors in the database right now. So we got Lululemon, we got Ulta Beauty, we got Shoe, Steve Madden, and I got Nike. I think that's it. I'm missing one. SKX, there it is. I got 5 stocks in this space. Now notice that all of them are either buy or hold recommendations. I still think that as we get into the summer, these are stocks that should take off. All right, so just keep that in mind. Glenn, you can walk and talk to your wife about VectorVest Mobile and show her how to use it too. No, I don't do that. When I'm walking, my wife is all business when we're walking. I just stay up with her. That's all. All right, let's go view the stock graph. All right, let's go take a look at these stocks on a 3-month graph. Summer's getting here. Lulu, big pullback. This wasn't earnings, or was it? Nope, not earnings. Big pullback for the last 2 days, but it did get to a level of resistance. If I'm thinking about getting into it now, let's see if we can get above that level of resistance. But I do like the rising earnings per share forecasted into next year. Ulta, man, look at that. Nice down day today, but it's been staying above the 20-day exponential moving average. Love the earnings per share on that as well. Let's go to the next one. Now, Madden's been a little bit more choppy, pulled down heavily, but look at the rising earnings per share above the 20-day, sitting at a level of 43.39 as a level of resistance. Let's see if it can close above that. It does have a buy recommendation right now. Next one is Nike. Nike is brand recognition. I don't think, with the exception of just the market going down, Nike should always do better, should do nice. But look at the rising earnings. 2 down days in a row, right at a level of resistance of 139.50. I'd look to see if it can break above that before I would buy into it right now. And last but not least is Skechers. I love my Skechers. They say, Joey says, as soon as you like Skechers, you're old. So in case anybody wants to yell at anybody, yell at Joey. Joey says, I love my Skechers. They're so smooth. All right, but Joey says, I threw Joey under the bus. Joey says, once you start wearing Skechers, you're old. So, Glenn, container rates from Asia to Chicago have quadrupled in the past 2 years. You know why? That's why the transportation ship companies like Diana Shipping and Nova Maritime and CTRM, why all of those shipping stocks are moving. That's just why, because the rates are gone up so much. All right, have gone up so much. All right, so those are my stocks on apparel. I still think that coming into the summer, those stocks are going to have a great opportunity to start rocking and rolling. All right, my last one. This was on Ulta Beauty. It's a great growth stock. I don't actually call it a growth stock, but I do think that it has good upside potential. Last things are my stocks of interest. Let's get into my stocks of interest. Musk says he secured $46 billion in funding for a Twitter bid. I want this story to go away. That's what I really wanted to do. Either get Twitter or don't. All right. So, but it was a big enough story that I wanted to talk about it. interesting. As Netflix goes down as big as it did yesterday, HBO grows nearly 77 million total subscribers as Netflix reports a decline. What's HBO got that Netflix ain't got? But that's huge. That's 3 million subscribers since the previous quarter. That's 3 million subscribers in the previous quarter. Earlier this week, Netflix reported its first subscriber loss in more than a decade. Competition going after Netflix. HBO, Roku, everybody else is catching up. Ulta come to Waterville, Maine in 2023. Are they putting an Ulta there? Is that what you're saying? Glenn, get some hokas from... What the heck is a hoka? Hey, Joey, do you know what a hoka is? Joey?
What?
You know what a hoka is?
Yeah, the shoes.
You
That's what Craig wears. Craig wears Hokas.
Craig who? Oh, Craig? Is that what he wears?
Yeah.
Oh, are they old people shoes?
Yeah.
Are my Skechers old people shoes?
Yeah. Oh, those are grilling shoes too.
You folks heard it from Joey directly. I didn't say it. You heard it from Joey directly. I ain't never heard of Hokas, so maybe I gotta look into them. Joey, can you tell me where I go to get Hokas from?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I don't know where they sell them.
All right, and my last story on stocks to keep your eyes on, lithium stocks. Lithium prices skyrocket as electric vehicle demand takes off. So tell you what I'm going to do in regards to that part of the story. Let's go back into the system. Let's talk about my stocks. There's WBD. That takes up for AT&T used to be the parent for HBO, but now it's Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers is there. Twitter. Look at where these stocks sit in my list of 21 stocks, folks. And what's the last one? Lithium. I'll talk to you about that in a second. So these are stocks that are making the news, but look at them. All right, this is Warner Brothers. Did we just start tracking it? Oh no, I got them to put this into the software because they just came on board as a brand new company. All right, and I wanted it, and they got it, and it's a brand new company, and it just looks poopy right now. Hoka won our best, Glenn. I don't know if I really want to get that. Sonny says grilling, gotta get a smoker too. I got a smoker. I need to get Joey over to my house to see if my smoker really works. Because Joey's the king of cooking when it comes down to grilling. One day I want to be like Joey and grow up and be able to cook like he does. Susie says, yes, Hokas are great. I got to find these shoes. All right, so this is on HBO, growing, but Warner Brothers is falling. So just be careful there. All right, and there's Twitter. Look at the earnings per share on Twitter, just falling. Even though earnings per share is still positive, it's just falling. Be careful with that. Could Elon Musk turn Twitter around? I think he could, but either he's going to buy it or he's not. All right, let's get it off of the TV. So now, the other thing was lithium stocks, right? So I created in our Trending Thursday, I created a lithium watch list. Where did I put it? It's probably at the bottom. There it is. I created a lithium watch list. Anybody who's a subscriber is going to say, well, I don't have that watch list. You're absolutely right. You don't. I created this. I went out on the internet and notice that all the lithium stocks are down today with the exception of Frontier Lithium. Let's do this. I'm going to look at the top 4 or so. And notice in this space, there's some few sell recommended stocks. Let's go. And a lot of them are cheaper too. This may not be a bad time for you to think about lithium, especially knowing that EVs are on the rise. Now, one of the things I really need to have, look at that. One of the things I need to really have is volume. I need to have some volume. This looks like it's a brand new stock for us. It's above the 20-day. I would keep my eye on it as long as it stays above the 20-day. SLI, I'm not feeling the earnings per share on this, and I don't like the topsy-turvy move currently below the 20-day. What else is in here? I do like SGML moving higher above the 20-day. It pulls back, and when it does pull back, it looks like this 20-day exponential moving average serves as a beautiful level of support as it keeps bouncing off of that. Love the earnings per share. $16.94. That's not a bad price. That's not a bad price on the stock. VectorVest has been a blessing with keeping me out of the market. There you go. Listen, there's not always is not the time to be in the market. Just because you got money doesn't mean you always have to be in the market. Stay away from Disney. You know something? That's a story for another time. All right, I got my things on that. I'm not getting into it here. But SGML, I do like the steady upward rise, higher highs, higher lows. It's in an uptrend. Would love to see it take out that 3-month high. What else? Look at that. PILBF, below the 20-day exponential moving average, just getting to be a sell. But just like Alcoa, below the 20-day, but I like the rising earnings per share. I would keep my eyes on this. But if it breaks through the 3-month low, I probably would no longer keep my eyes on that. All right, and for that, folks, that's I created this watch list for this group. I found these stocks. This only got 15 stocks, and I think eventually I'm going to have to do a lithium video. And we could be looking at early entry. When I say early entry, I still think that lithium's got a ways to go, even though the demand for EVs is increasing. I still think that this has got a ways to go. All right, let's see. Oh, I did that all by myself. Woo-wee. Look at me, Joey. I put my big boy pants on today all by myself. All right, folks. Oh, I got to do one other thing. Hold on. Let me go back into what I got to do. I got to talk about the portfolios. Let's go look at my portfolios. The Bahamas trip, down 3%. Sigh. Don't look like we going to the Bahamas yet, folks. Doesn't look like. Now, let's go look at the other one. Look at that big move. This is the Chapel Champs, which was shorting stocks. Look at that, up 7% today. Ooh-wee. All right, so don't give up on the trip yet. Don't give up on the trip yet. On Mondays, I'll show you that one on Monday. You know I did the story on copper stocks, right? Let's go see what that looks like. Ooh, that's getting smoked like a pound of bacon. Ooh-wee. I got cybersecurity stocks. I did a video on that. That's down a little bit. Man, sigh. And one last one. I did my inflation stocks. See what that's up. That's only up 1%. It's down today, but overall up 1%. So I've got, on a lot of the videos that I've done, I've put videos together. How about my uranium stocks? Ooh, it's down as well. Big move down today. Wow. So this was up about 8%. We gave it all back today. Good, googly muggly. But again, let it be. One day doesn't, I'm down 10%. This was a $10,000 portfolio. I'm only down 1.22%. All right, but there's the Bahamas portfolio. All right, again, I'm not afraid to show it when it don't work. It is what it is. All right, now I go to here, and I'm done. All right, folks, don't forget, if you haven't already, if you like what you saw here and you're not a part of VV Nation, hit the subscribe button. Would love for you to do that. Hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when new content comes out. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do so. Look at that, sitting at 99. All I need is one more. You guys, there we go. I got it. Thank you so much for letting me know that you appreciate being here. Mace on Facebook says, I love Skechers. I love my Skechers too. I definitely love my Skechers too. All right, I'm done. So Monday, it'll just be me, folks. Joey, thank you for being here with me today, but being here as well. I appreciate it. So until the next time, adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Bom dia, salam, shalom, namaste. And who else was